Mayor.
Trustee Straight.
Well, I think, I certainly got an earful tonight about the Stony Creek promenade, and when it was first envisioned, as we've, said, the plan was to develop an upscale shopping center. And like most people, I was very excited about the announcement that Mariano's would be opening in the center, and likewise, Cooper's Hawk is an excellent addition. But now, we are hearing of stores that you could find in a mediocre strip mall, like another bank and a mattress store and meatheads and all the others that were named. This isn't the development that the people were promised. I don't believe it warrants spending one dime, let alone $1.6 million of taxpayers' money to bury overhead electric lines. Furthermore, it makes no sense to me that we cut public safety services in the name of controlled spending and financial accountability and then squander $1.6 million of taxpayer money on totally unnecessary projects like this decision to pay ComEd to bury overhead electric lines. While we will hear tonight that we have agreed to bury the wires, the truth is that the agreement gave the developer the right to terminate the agreement if we didn't bury the wires by December 1st, 2013. We didn't bury the wires by that date, and the developer didn't terminate the agreement. Since the developer didn't terminate the agreement, there is no duty to bury the wires now. I'd rather see those dollars go to maintain the highest standards of public safety for the residents rather than making the development more aesthetically pleasing to the developer. And I think, the comments of Trustee Carberry and the mayor themselves tonight were very telling. Trustee Carberry said that the proposal that was made in 2006, 8 years ago, essentially he said that was 8 years ago, suggesting that it's no longer going to be upscale. And the mayor said it's a very different world.
It's not what I said. It's not what I suggested.
Trustee Carberry, I'll let you talk after that.
Thank you. Actually, that's what you implied, but at any rate, you can address that. But the mayor, your words, Mayor, was it's a very different world than it was in 2006. And indeed it is. Indeed it is. And that's why we should reconsider spending this money to bury those lines. It's a different development, too, than we were promised. And that there's no reason that we should do that anymore, and I will not be supporting that.
Thank you, Trustee Carberry, and then our village manager will weigh in.
Development that you were promised, what does that mean? When you voted on it and you approved it, and now you're saying you were promised. So if you were promised it, what does that mean?
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. We were promised. What we did, Trustee
It's a little
Carberry,
late for that.
Pardon?
It's a little late for that.
Well, yeah, actually, it's not late. It's late. It's late because of the steps that Trustee Quinlan articulated very well tonight, and that is, things have changed.
I'm going to let the village manager
He asked me to
weigh in.
address it. I appreciate
And you
your
did, and you're saying the same thing.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not saying the same thing at all. What I'm saying is that we were promised an upscale development by our manager. We hired this manager because of his experience with development. He told us, this is what I do. I'm going to bring an upscale development to this community.
Madam Mayor.
Hamilton Partners told us that that's what they were going to do. And you're basically now, there's no question that we agreed. We agreed to commit taxpayers' money to an upscale development, not a mediocre strip mall that you can find on any corner. That's not right. Not with taxpayers' money,
and
Trustee.
I'm going to turn the floor over to our village manager, Larry.
Well, that's going to be
Sounds like he's a real estate developer,
That'll
too.
be-
And
Trustee
village
Carberry,
manager.
we're going to talk one at a time,
be a little
please.
tough
Thank
to
you.
respond to that, Mayor. So let me try to get down to the facts. Facts are this: we do have a contractual obligation. We do have a responsibility to bury those utility lines. We're certainly not going to bring a quality restaurant like Cooper's Hawk to this community and ask people to dine under high wire transmission lines and where a pond is and a plaza. The site plan was approved by the prior board. It has been gladly, and I appreciate the response and the support of this mayor and board since the election. And everything you've done, I think, has been outstanding to support this development. I will tell you, I will never sit here and ever criticize any business, any man or woman who spends money, employs other people in this community for a living, no matter what they do, whether they make a hot dog, whether they provide a professional service, whether they're a waiter, whether they're a cook, or whether they're a repairman. Each and every job, in my opinion, is so important in today's economy, and I salute and applaud every single business that's committing to coming to Oak Lawn, and they are not mediocre. They're what makes America so great. They're independent men, business, and women in this community. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Porter.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, Bob, you know, in 2006, when I sat on the park board and this whole concept was floated, okay, and we were asked to support the TIF, we all kind of thought this is a fairyland concept, especially when we saw the brochures distributed by the board at that time. It looked like Disneyland, but you guys went ahead and did it. And we now have 25 million plus invested in this from this community. And we have a Mariano's, and we have a Cooper's Hawk, and we got a Massage Envy, which is just as classy as all of those. And you want to walk away from this concept and wash your hands of it because there's a hot dog stand maybe that wants to get in there? I can't support that. I can't walk away from this investment, and I don't think the people of Oak Lawn want to throw their money away. I don't see where you're coming from on this. You were the people that first sold this, okay, and pushed it, and this is a positive thing, okay?
What
And I
is,
believe
Mayor?
it will work. I believe that
you.
you were right, but we got to make it work.
Trustee Quinlan.
First of all, what you're saying, Larry, and implying that even remotely that we don't care about the small type of business, hey, I think it's great. We do have strip malls in Oak Lawn. I hope they all are filled and look great and well attended by the residents. But this development was completely different. You were hired specifically because of your experience with the development. I don't know how many conversations over the 7 years and since I started talking with Hamilton, and I was one of the first people with you, and I believe Bob might have been at that meeting, to meet with Hamilton. That vision was shared. It couldn't have been clearer. Over the years, continually sharing that vision. And just in the past 2 weeks, when I find out, what's been going in there, everything's going to be different now. I just want to know, when did that all change, and when were you going to tell us? When all of a sudden they're popping up, and it's not the types of businesses that we were originally promised?
Well, maybe
this
if
is
I
ridiculous.
could, Trustee, first of all, let's
Absolutely
make sure
ridiculous.
that we get facts when we're up here.
This
talking.
is facts, Larry.
Let's talk
I have
facts.
been at every
Let's-
Trustee
meeting.
Quinlan,
talk
let's
facts.
let the
Yeah.
Let's
village
talk
manager
facts.
speak.
Yeah.
Quit interrupting, thank you.
Start with why we
The
hired you.
decision to create a TIF and the vision that was presented to the public was in 2006. I wasn't here, okay? When I was brought in here, you're absolutely correct. One of my assignments, one of my many assignments
Biggest
was
assignment.
to make it work,
Trustee
get it out of
Quinlan, please
litigation.
let him speak.
It was in litigation. We'd spent over $300,000 in litigation. You're smiling? That's the
You
truth.
you did a pretty poor job
Trustee
at it.
Quinlan, Trustee
He just
Quinlan,
addressed me. I'm addressing
please
him
let him
back.
finish speaking, and then I'll give you the floor. If
Tru-
you-
You opened
Trustee-
yourself up on that one, Larry.
Madam Mayor,
Should we call the vote?
No, Madam Mayor, I would like to say something. I've sat here quietly and patiently.
Okay, Larry, are you finished speaking?
I can be finished, Mayor.
Okay, I'm going to turn the floor over to Trustee Carberry, then Trustee Oliniechek, then we call the vote.
no, I'll let
Okay,
Alex,
Trustee
and then I'll
Oliniechek.
make my comment after that.
All right, the issue at hand we're talking about is doing the right thing, regardless of what the vision was, what the vision is, and what the vision is going to be. We, back in 2006, and I'm one of the few that can say that I was here in 2006, we noticed that the Village of Oak Lawn needed to change its financial engine. We did not have enough revenues coming in at that time. Our choices were to look to raise taxes or to find another revenue source, and that being creating retail on 111th Street. One of the goals was to be able to find a grocery store for that side of town, and we did a phenomenal job of being able to get Mariano's there. The other goal was to bring in other white tablecloth restaurants, higher-end restaurants, and I think we've accomplished that. But getting to the point of what we're voting on right here is we're voting on burying lines that, regardless of what there may be opinions on of whether it's a waste of money or it's not a waste of money, we've agreed to do it. It has to be done. It's the right thing to do. If you look at any of the statistics that we get on new developments in reliable power, we have an opportunity to right a wrong and be able to bury those lines in an area that they will help with the dependability of the power. I really think that as a board, we tend to walk the line on when you use the word of mediocrity development, or you use the word of some of the restaurants and some of the secondary places that are coming into that development. Remember, if we don't find extra retail, our village budget goes up roughly about $1 million a year in cost. Is that the number that we still are using, Larry?
At least, yes.
So if we have $1 million a year going up in cost, and we've got retail, when we're predominantly boxed in with automotive, which was a notice back in 2006 that if anything happened to the automotive industry, we would be in a little bit of trouble, which we saw some bad economies and we saw the adjustment, and thank God the automotive industry is still here helping us with those taxes. But we didn't have a strong retail base, and that's what this whole 111th Street development was for, is to be able to build a retail base. Let's let the process work. I may not be happy with some of the first developments in the beginning of this, but to sit there and condemn people for saying that they didn't work hard enough coming out of an economy that was one of the worst economies since the Great Depression, and bringing businesses that want to come into the village of Oak Lawn and residents that want to move into the village of Oak Lawn, I think that it's too far into the beginning of this development to start condemning people or the development when you come out of the gate with the Mariano's and you come out of the gate with a Cooper's Hawk. Those are two huge wins coming out of the gate, especially after the hard economy we've gone through. So let's stick at hand and let's look at what the right thing to do to bury the lines and continue with our commitment so we can start turning this property around, which, by the way, this property was underutilized, underused, and it was deemed that the property was considered a tippable district because it was a blemish. And anybody that saw that knows that it was a blemish. It's not going to be a blemish as we start moving through this. Let's do the right thing and make sure that we invest in the infrastructure.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call the vote. You want to?
Yeah, I just want to
add
make a
one
quick
more thing?
comment.
Okay.
Alex, thank you for Trustee Trustee Olenichek, thank you for comments. But in Trustee Quinlan, there's a lot of things that you're saying that I agree with, and I wish, and I hope in phase two that we, I truly believe some of the type of stores that you desire. I think we might hit one of them, and I hope we do. I did talk to Hamilton, and I talked to 3 brokers outside of Hamilton, 3 of the most successful retail brokers in the city of Chicago. They all know about the development. That's their business. They know about a development in Archer in California. They know about developments at 111 in Cicero. They know all the developments that are going on in the city of Chicago. They were, one of them was shocked that we had Mariano's and Cooper Hawk, and very impressed, and was more impressed with the fact that we were getting Massage Envy and thought it was going to help us sell the development more, to maybe get one of those types of stores you're talking about. It's a barrier of entry for other stores to come in when they get that Massage Envy. I didn't know that. I'm not in the government doesn't traditionally do very well in the real estate business, by the way. So if we hired the village manager for a real estate developer, that was probably a bad choice. But government's never ever done well in real estate deals. But I do think, because of a lot of hard work by a lot of people, I think ultimately this is going to be I think it's going to be a special place. I really do. And it's going to be, and I think we might pull off a couple of those stores that you're looking for in the phase 2, and I hope we do.
Thank you. So we're calling the vote on item 29. This is a motion to approve.
Trustee Strite?
No.
Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Carberry?
Yes.
Trustee Vorderer?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-1.